We're losing our men. Yeah, we're losing our men. I said it. And we're not losing our men because there's a shortage of men and them in jail or them gay or them married. No, we're losing our men because we're not treating them correctly.
You got married?
Yeah.
You were married?
I was married. I was a married woman.
What?
Yeah.
How long are y'all married?
Not long, probably 2 years.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
okay.
Such a great guy, amazing guy, but we just didn't want the same things in life.
Okay.
He was okay with just love and, going to church and having a family, going to work and raising kids. And I was like, I want more.
Way more.
There have been recent calls for Save Your Community Black Men, but in this recent, more liberal time, there are some unforeseen issues that men may be running into when they try to save their community. When I saw this post, I was struck by how short the marriage was, not just by her saying, basically the guy was essentially everything a woman would say that she wants, God-fearing, he went to church, he wanted to raise a family, he went to work, but she wanted more. So what exactly is more?
You
I
wanted
want more.
Way more. Yeah, I get that.
And I shouldn't feel bad for wanting more.
Did you feel like you knew y'all weren't on the same page before you walked down the aisle? So why'd you do it? What was the reason?
That's a lot of pressure.
Okay.
When a man proposes to a woman, that's a lot. And in front of people,
I didn't want to let my community down. They thought this was beautiful.
look, you're like, I gotta say yes. After that situation, I'm gonna tell you what you don't want to hear, because someone should have told me.
Oh.
And I'm not gonna put that responsibility on them. But if someone would have been like, hey girl,
This ain't.
you're not even happy right now.
He was happy.
Yeah.
Man.
And that makes it harder.
Yeah.
Because you're like, you have someone that loves you. But at the end of the day, love is not enough.
It's not enough.
It's not enough because love is a choice.
OMG, the secret is out. We are the proud new owners of Hotel Sages in Bali. We can't wait to share this journey with you all. Stay tuned.
Of course, congratulations to this woman for becoming a successful hotelier in Bali. But the other side of the more that she was talking about is this relationship. And I'm sure that this information would have come in very handy to her previous ex-husband before he proposed to her. The question is, how many young ladies dream of their more, not only being financially more, but this more in the Black community?
These are two things I wish I would have been told before I had gotten married, now that I am divorced, that I wish my younger self would have chewed upon before I had even thought about getting married. The first thing I would tell my younger self is, don't commingle your finances. Do not commingle your finances. Ensure that you have your own separate account, that you have your own money going into, that only you track.
Signs begin to show in the early 2010s that we were not living in the same Black community that our parents and our grandparents had grown up in. In 2012, Blacks are more likely to identify as gay than any other group.
It's one thing to have a shared account that you both agree to put some X amount in for shared expenses, but you have to remember that you are a separate entity outside that relationship. And the one way you can remember that is having your own resources, because things don't last forever. And we have to believe that as well.
And then this article later in the decade saying that 1 out of every 4 Black women identify as bisexual, showing that the trending is going in a direction away from the nuclear man-woman-child family.
My divorce financially ruined me. I'm very honest with you. I lost everything. Even though I made double my ex-husband's salary. That's not even a joke. I made double his salary.
This article from the Washington Informer in 2012 identified the trend line for the Black community. This article referenced stats saying younger women are more likely to identify as LGBT than are younger men. Among the 18 to 29-year-olds, 8.3% of women identify as LGBT compared to 4.6% of men in that same group. And this leads me to 2 questions. One is, of that higher percentage of young women, how many of them are Black women known to be the most liberal women in the country? And the second question is, if this is what it was 10 years ago, imagine what it might be now.
When I was working in higher ed and I carried the insurance and was putting most of the money into that house that we had owned and all the like, right? But when that divorce happened and we had to split everything, 50-50, even though I was now building a new business and did not have that income, it didn't matter. So I really did get in the end.
In an attempt to find more accurate and up-to-date statistics on the state of the LGBT community inside of the Black community, I found this particular study from January 2021 from the UCLA School of Law Williams Institute. The findings were interesting.
And have now had to rebuild from literally scratch. But that's the second thing I would tell myself. You've already shown yourself, Nicole, that you can build from scratch. So what makes you think that if you have to leave that relationship, you can't do it again? I stayed too long in that relationship because I was scared, and I can admit that right now.
Two of the prominent stats that you see before you even open the PDF research paper is that there are approximately 1.2 million LGBT Black Americans today currently. And in that group, 36% of Black LGBTQ are parenting children. This, of course, means that we are in store for a very different Black community in the next 10, 20 years.
I was scared to think about building at that time a career, having a young child, and realizing that the relationship I was in was not working for either one of us. This was before I even realized I was gay.
Although the tropes of the down low Black men or an abundance, quote unquote, of gay Black men remain explanations as to why many Black women are not able to find a suitable Black husband. However, the study's breakdown of population estimates and proportions of Black LGBT versus non-LGBT adults by gender reveal interesting proportionalities. The study's population estimate for Black LGBT men was 473,000 versus a non-Black LGBT men population estimate of 11,403,000, representing 39% of the Black LGBT community, a number smaller than the overall Black non-LGBT percentage of 44.2%. The population estimate for Black LGBT women was 736,000 versus a Black non-LGBT women population estimate of 14,407,000. This leads to a women's percentage of 60.9% of the Black LGBT community versus the 39% of Black men in the Black LGBT community. The number for Black men, 39.1, is under the overall percentage of Black non-LGBT in the Black community. However, for Black women, a number of 60.9 represents a number over the overall representation of the Black non-LGBTQ community. A view of the age distribution of Black LGBT versus non-LGBT adults shows that they are trending younger. In each age demographic, starting from the 65-year-old cohort down to the 18 to 24-year-old cohort, you see that there is an ever-increasing number of the population of the Black community trending Black LGBT. And this is the stat that stuck out the most for me in perusing this report. The average age for the Black LGBT man, 39. For the average Black woman, 34.
I was scared to think about building at that time a career, having a young child, and realizing that the relationship I was in was not working for either one of us. This was before I even realized I was gay. Me realizing I was gay is what helped trigger the actual break. But we should have broke a long time ago. And I really question if we should have ever really been married or if we were just supposed to have a child together and co-parent, which we're doing fine right now after some negotiations, right? But I had shown myself by building in other people's houses, building offices, institutes, training presidents, developing new concepts, getting $1 million of grants, building a institute, an Ivy League institution in 1 year's time, right? I had shown myself I could take nothing and build it into something, but I couldn't apply that to myself until I had to. And now I'm building from the ground up once again, because if I made that money, if I could do that thing in those plantation systems, what happens if I take that institution and make myself the center of it, make myself the institution? Imagine what I could build. And that's exactly where I am now.
So this is the story of a woman who, as she said, got $1 million grants, and she found out during the marriage, probably much like the first young lady, I don't like men. And that's fair. In a way, I guess, because if that's what you are, I guess that's what you are. And I'm not here to talk down on that particular segment of the community. But there were two men, straight men, that went into both of these marriages trying to be the save the community or be the stand-up Black men. The first one going to church, and this one apparently just not making as much as a woman who's getting $1 million grants from Ivy League institutions. And there they are trying to co-parent or at least pick their lives up after realizing that their Black wife was not straight. And that's something that we have not considered at least for guys that are being tasked with saving the black community. How many of these young ladies have had experiences where they're at least curious to start with, or maybe their true calling is that? We saw in the numbers that black women are overrepresented in the numbers for LGBT in the black community and in the overall LGBT community. So there is a growing possibility that the guy that's trying to do the right thing could end up co-parenting with a woman who's living with another woman. And that's if you're lucky and it works out. And if she takes your child and maybe goes somewhere else where you can't access the child, that's basically another child in the black community growing up with a norm of two parents that are not man and woman. Am I talking down on the LGBT community? No, I am not. Am I casting my aspersions on the black LGBT community? No, I'm not. But I do know biology. And biology says you need a stable family unit of a man and a woman to have a child. And if you can't count on that woman staying with you as a straight black woman, more and more in this new progressive age, it looks like you're going to have to do something outside of the box, because that box that we thought that was there is sure enough changing now, isn't it? And that black wife effect might not be for black men. It might be for another woman. Thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, comment below. Catch you next video. Take care.